So this was a very intense game. This was a duo queue. I was duo queuing with another champion rank person at the time. I'm legendary rank now, but at the time I was champion rank. There's only 4 champion ranks in this game, 2 on both teams, and everyone else is legendary. Hard to really gauge skill, but in this game, I was dancing for my life, and I felt, burnout, because I was so cognitively focused and stressed out over the whole thing. I'm sort of just staying back a little bit, keeping my eye on the objective and the team health. I don't want to get shot at, and I don't want to be caught out of position. Sierra Stellaris needs a little healing, so I tried to go for him, but he runs way too far, and I tried to focus on the objective. Our Welkin's engaging in a 1v3/4 against the enemy team, so I start pushing, throwing walls, pushing them back. I know my walls can harass. So here the enemy Welkin started trying to capture the objective, which takes about 7 seconds, and then he puts up his box, which lasts for 4 seconds. So effectively the strategy is to start capping an objective and then put up your box as a Welkin, and as long as you're uncontested, you'll get the objective. But here, our Welkin on our team and me, we were able to contest and interrupt. Our Welkin's still weak, so I try to heal him with a tether heal while I put my emergency support drone on him, start blasting. We do end up taking out their Welkin, which does stagger his death a little bit. I see their Tricera, and I know that he's prone to getting hit by walls, so I give him a couple walls. Our team was smart enough to delete the enemy Panther, which makes it a 4v6, 6 in favor for us. Normally, if you're trying to play one of these dismantle maps, the ideal goal is to go for the objective, but if it's being contested, the secondary goal is to kill the enemy, so then you can get the objective. Also, there's another option of stealthing it, but anytime that you're near one of these objective points, you're basically keeping an eye on making sure that the enemy's not capping it, as well as trying to kill the enemy and trying to cap it yourself. So there's like 3 things going on. Over here I'm just avoiding being a target while throwing down walls anytime that the Tricera goes into his turret form position to make sure that he doesn't get comfy. Our Inferno is doing a good job keeping mid-range distance. I see their Stellaris trying to invis cap it. I tried to shoot at the Stellaris, but what ended up happening was my fire control system locked on to the enemy Tricera, preventing me from shooting at the Stellaris. But don't worry, our Stellaris took out their Stellaris. Since we have a Welkin and a Stellaris on point, I let them cap the objective while I provide the heals and do my job. Their Welkin did respawn and dove right into our team. Enemy Lumine was on the objective, probably trying to interrupt, but then the enemy Lumine got really weak. I pinged, and then we took out their healer. Without their healer, all we have to do is just play the waiting game and get the time on our side as we heal and they don't. I end up sneaking and getting the objective while everyone's distracted. And then our Welk and our Stellaris helped to take care of their Welkin. I was reassessing the situation, seeing where the next control point is, and then looking at our team health. Sadly, I wasn't fast enough to see that our Aquila was dying to help target our Aquila and keep them alive. I throw down my emergency support drone to keep our Inferno healthy, and then I put it on Stellaris. And this is a really cool thing, so I start blasting with my emergency support drone even with Stellaris and stealth, and this Stellaris was smart enough to realize that if I'm blasting, he must be near an enemy, and thank goodness he turned to the enemy, because that helped secure that kill. As you see here, I don't have my emergency support drone on me. I recall it, and then I put it back on myself, and I'm just trying to survive, baiting the Stellaris that bursted me. Just trying to waste their time. I'm not really near the objective, and my goal and objective is to heal my teammates, but of course if I die I can't heal them, and so I bait this Stellaris to chase me for a little bit. And this is where the Dance Dance Revolution Part 1 comes in. It's basically I put down walls and then I dance around the walls and I try to survive, and I bait him into hitting, and he gets the registration that he hit something, which is the walls, but that gives him a false positive thinking that he hit me, which is not the case. I found a moment of reprieve to escape, and then I get in time to the objective to help heal our Welkin, who is almost dying. And then I apply some pressure with using my walls that pushes away the Tricera. And then I'm close to the Welkin, so I go in for a tether heal, keeping our Welkin alive because he's doing some work. Looking back at this gameplay, I should have split up my healing and then healed our Inferno and keep both people alive, but I messed up and focused only on the Welkin. Here our Aquila was pinging for the heals, but I wasn't able to focus or find them in order to get them. And that's something I could have improved upon, was healing our Aquila, because our Aquila was weak for a long time, and I could have provided the heals, but I was focused on the objective. And here I am trying to find our Aquila, but I sadly fly past the Aquila, which was on my bottom right, and I missed that. So here I've blown up the map on the bottom left here to show how our team's positioning sort of went linear, and it exposed ourselves a bit from the open and the rear. This could have played out a lot differently had our Welkin not rushed to the other objective, or if the Stellaris peeled for me after I helped heal them and helped kill the enemy Stellaris. Ultimately, yes, I could blame my teammates for this, but that would just show that I have poor skill. So instead, what I could have done differently, had I kept our Aquila alive, and had I kept, the Inferno alive, if we kept those, if I had played better and kept those two alive, the following would not have happened. And so this is the aftermath of what happens if you don't heal your teammates and they die. And it's basically everyone was out of position, everyone was stretched out, and I'm just getting singled out and soloed. And because of our stretched positioning, they picked us off one by one in the following, and that allowed them to basically get the next objective here. And I get chased by a Falcon pretty hard. And this is Dance Dance Part 2, where I'm trying to use the environment to obstruct the missiles and the bullets that the Falcon's using with the radar to chase me. It's pretty rough. We're spread thin, the enemy's pincering us. I cannot deal with a Falcon as a Pinaka. I don't have the advantage, and I use my walls to provide my own cover, and it's not looking good for me. I'm just dancing around my own walls. This is why I felt burnout from playing this game. It's from trying to survive. As you see here, I'm just trying to survive the Falcon, and our Welkin gets bursted before I can do any healing, so because of our team being so spread thin, this is what happens. And we get picked off one by one. Here I throw down walls to harass the Tricera to stop him from being comfy, but then that overextends myself and I'm out of position with 4 enemies near me, and I get bursted by the Stellaris, so that's my own fault. So, I mean, looking at the replay, it was definitely due to positioning. We were just spread way too thin, and we keep on dying one by one because of them being able to prio targets one at a time. Because it doesn't matter what mech you're playing, 5v1 is not going to work out in your favor. Especially if you're by yourself, you know what I mean? Now that I'm back in the game, I'm assessing the team's health, and I see our Sky Raiders kind of at the objective, trying to contest before it opens up. And I try to heal him, but I miss my skill shot, and then I get my second one off. I see the Tricera, he's out of his turret form, and then I get bursted. I was thinking about throwing walls on the Tricera, but then I focus on the objective and throw walls on the objective. I throw up my emergency support drone on Welkin so he can do some work. I got a good vantage point so I can see what I'm shooting at. We melt the enemy Welkin's box and contest the objective. Looking back, I still have 4 healing drones, so I definitely did underperform here because I could have put more healing drones down at the objective while I try to assist and cap it. Our Welkin was pretty smart, and he put up his box after taking out the enemy Welkin, and no one contested or broke his box, so it allowed him to get that capture. As we rush towards Alpha, see our Sky Raid is a little low, and I try to get my skill shot and my emergency support drone around him to heal. Here I underperformed because I could have been shooting while my emergency support drone was on our Sky Raider, and that would have helped do a lot more damage because our Sky Raider has better visuals on the enemy. I think another thing to point out is that when you start shooting with your emergency support drone, you do draw aggro to the person that has the emergency support drone. So consider that if you're like trying to heal someone and they're not necessarily engaged in a fight, to not shoot. So that's like another thing to keep in mind to draw less aggro. Trying to get on top of the mountain, but I did poorly on trying to get that going, so I fell behind the mountain, and I missed my skill shot, my emergency support drone on the Aquila, but I do get my second one off. Here I start blasting because I was hoping that the Aquila would notice that the Falcon's chasing them, but then he gets bursted by the Stellaris and the Panther, and I'm just hovering in the ground trying to keep the Aquila alive. My emergency support drone timer runs out, and so it recalls it, and now I'm trying to put it back on the Aquila to keep them alive. The Aquila gets close enough that I can get a tether heal going. The Aquila ends up breaking my tether, and then I just give up healing and focus on the objective because, you know, what am I going to do? Sadly, once again, you know, focusing on trying to keep the Aquila alive because our high priority target, our Welkin, gets bursted by the enemy Panther. And I try to throw down some walls to interrupt or annoy the Tricera from getting too comfy in a high vantage point. And it does work a little bit as they have to drop down. I do get lance charged by an enemy Panther, the one that killed our Welk, and then I try focusing more on the objective, so I try ignoring him, and then luckily I found this little hidey hole. So the trick with Panther is he tries to jump down and get you. So if you find some sort of cover above your head, you're pretty safe-ish, as long as there's not a large opening. Pretty bold trying to capture the objective with the whole enemy team there, and then I back off after seeing that the whole enemy team's there and they notice me, and I go back to healing our Inferno so he can do some damage from a distance, and I start shooting with my splitter. I threw a wall at the enemy Tricera. I saw the enemy Welkin trying to capture it with his box, and I tried to throw a wall, but it ended up stacking on my previous walls. Sadly, the Welkin on the enemy team was able to put up his box and capture the objective, and here I am getting singled out by a Falcon, and here's my third Dance revolution right here. As I'm dancing around this hill on this mountain, trying to avoid getting crushed by their Falcon again. Luckily, the enemy Falcon gave up the chase because they were getting shot by our Aquila which spawned in, and then I rushed towards our Welkin to try to keep him alive. I start blasting and healing as much as I can, and we are able to take out their enemy Welkin. I have really low health, so I'm managing my distance away from the enemy as I'm trying to heal, and I go for the next objective. Here I'm trying to put the emergency support drone on our Aquila to keep them alive because they're a little low health and they're a higher priority target than I am. So I'm not too worried about dying because I don't have to get directly in the fight. Stellaris is targeting me and I do a little dance trying to get away, but he does end up catching me with his grapple and I do burst and die. So that could have played a lot differently. But I think we did alright with the amount of support that I provided. Could have healed myself a little more, but ended up not. So, it is what it is. I put my emergency drone on the Inferno, and then I recall it and then put it on a Stellaris to keep him alive as he contests with the Welkin. I do get hit by the Panther, and then I do a few jukes trying to avoid him, but he does give up chase, and so I go back to the objective and start to annoy and harass. Sadly, our team wasn't fast enough, and the extractor timed out, so no one got the point. Here I'm heading to Bravo, and looking back, I was definitely out of position because I was too far forward, and that's why this Falcon was able to chase me. Our whole team's back there where the old objective was. I heal as I distract the Falcon a little bit, and then I go towards my team to provide the assist. We were able to take out their enemy Lumine, and without their healer and their main source of interruption, we should be alright to capture this objective. Here we're grouping up as a team pretty effectively. Tricera's pretty far away and he's not in turret form, so I do miss off my walls. The walls do apply pressure to stop him from going in turret form, but looking back I should have focused more on directly healing the Stellaris, who got bursted a little bit. Luckily though, our Stellaris was smart enough to go towards me for the heals, so I was able to quickly put my emergency support drone on him and heal him. And then after he heals up, he goes into a fight, engages with the enemy Welkin, gets boxed, which recalls my emergency support drone. And then I start shooting with my blaster to break the box and free our Stellaris out. Stellaris dive took away their Welkin from contesting with our Welkin, and our Welkin got the objective. And then I just look around for our Inferno to put heals on him, try to keep him alive. And you know, that's game, because we timed out on that. So a little background. Earlier, before, when we were doing our selection for which striker we're going to pick, our Aquila and our Stellaris were arguing for who should have Aquila. And apparently, so like the matchmaking, you can set your default strikers, but sometimes it glitches out and it doesn't work properly. So our Stellaris didn't get the Aquila, and our Aquila got the Aquila and was a higher prior target, and I guess underperformed at this level of play. And our Stellaris was kind of, he said he was respectful, but it came off very disrespectful. saying that, hey, you shouldn't play Aquila if you can't deal with that many flyers targeting you and all that stuff. But, you know, we end up winning by time, which is not necessarily a good thing. And we did some pretty clutch things, but we also had really bad positioning here and there, and my heals were off, and my damage output wasn't as high as it should be. What's important to note is that our Sky Raider and myself as Pinaka, we had a lot of high assists, so we did a lot of kill participation there, which really helped to seal the deal on killing the enemy team. And there were many times that the Lumine got caught out of position, so that helped to secure that 7 deaths. Most of the game, their Panther wasn't hard focusing me. I mean, they got me a couple times, but, you know, I mainly died to the Stellaris who was picking me off. So what happened was their Panther would basically lance charge burst someone, and then their Stellaris would come around behind and try to finish them off, which is a good strategy, I think. And if they were more effective, or if their Panther actually soloed me and focused me, I wouldn't have been in the game as much, and they would be down a healer, and that could have played out a lot differently in that regard. Yeah, so there's probably a lot of lessons to get out of this. I didn't play or perform as well as I should have for the level of play that everyone else was playing, and I felt that too, and I was also really stressed out having to dance 3 times, you know, trying to not die by the Stellaris and the Falcon twice. So a lot of that played in the psychological factor when I was trying to, you know, survive as I'm trying to heal the team and do all that stuff. And yeah, I felt pretty burned out, so I didn't play ranked for like 2 days after this. Some more details in the description of this video, but overall, you know, a win's a win, I'll take it. But yeah, so this is the type of stuff you can deal with when you're solo or duo queue at the higher levels, and I definitely felt it here. But you know, it worked out all right. Here are the stat cards during the time after the game. I just wanted to take a screenshot and then show them basically of who played who and what their ranks are at and how it felt. Matchmaking and ranking system in this game is a little bit different, but I think ultimately you'll find that there's all a mixed bag of skill at the higher levels, at the legendary and indestructible rank. You'll see a lot of people play or perform well, and you'll also see some people that kind of don't play or perform well, but you know, you get a mixed bag, and I just wanted to show this is what I was dealing with at the time. And yeah, it was a little rough, you know. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you saw what I saw, and then also maybe you saw something more or something I could improve upon. But yeah, enjoy life. Have a good one. Cheers.